Ladies and gentlemen, if there is one thing which is going to take William Ruto home, then it is the finance bill. But William Ruto is out to do everything possible to ensure that the bill goes through. Kimani Ichung'wah, who is the majority leader in the National Assembly, has leaked William Ruto's plans to win over the members of parliament who are opposed to this particular bill. But the bill is very unpopular. Earlier today, Njoro member of parliament, Kimani Ichung'wah, who is also the finance committee chairperson in parliament, found it very rough in his constituency, trying to explain to the people why the finance bill is good.
To this housing levy, to this housing fund, it is highly contested. But from experience, those issues that have been highly contested in this country has been the source of liberation and the success of our country. Anaje mnapinga? Kwa nini mnapinga nini hapo? Nini? Nini? Uko na njaa? Hamuna? Hamja? Unga iko juu. Unga iko juu. Na nyinyi ni wakulima. Si nyinyi ni wakulima? Hiyo unga inatoka wapi? Inatoka wapi? Kwa wapi? Tukiteremsha bei ya unga, bei ya viazi itafanya nini? Haya, acha tuulizane hapa. Tukiteremsha demokrasia yetu imemachua ya kwamba tunaongea kuhusu finance bill. Nyinyi mmekaa muona hii miaka yote hamjaisikia finance bill tena. Umeisikia hii wakati KK amekuwa chair wa finance bill. Ni kweli ama ni uongo? Kwa sababu pia nilichukua personal responsibility. Ile sheria moja ambayo it is highly litigated katika Kenya yetu has been the finance bill. I took upon myself and nikaambia members of our committee, we must make sure we do proper public participation so that we hear the views of every Kenyan, so that the decision that we make is going to be in consideration of the views of Kenyans. And I'm happy. Mona ambao hawajaisikia finance bill ni mimi, siku ya leo wanajadili jioni kwa masoko yao, kwa maboma zao, mambo ya finance bill. Na kwa hivyo, if we are to progress like this as a country, that every time we have a change in legislation, we have such a continuous engagement, hatutapata tena watu wakienda kwa street kuandamana.
But despite that, William Ruto is determined to ensure that the bill goes through. And I agree with Onyonka, the Kisii senator. Kenyans should understand that choices have consequences.
I want to tell you this. There's nothing that is going to happen. This bill will pass. Why? This team, KK Alliance, they have got the majority. And the truth and the reality is that I'm sure the president is monitoring what everybody's doing. Why? Because he wouldn't want for the first time his wish to be thwarted. And that is to make sure that the bill passes. Whether the bill is going to be popular with Kenyans right now, the bill is extremely unpopular. But the president has an agenda. The president had a manifesto. In fact, the joke we make amongst us in the opposition is how we wish Kenyans would just give Ruto what he wants. Because if Kenyans are complaining, they elected him.
Okay.
So for us, we are saying, let him increase the tax to 100%. Because Kenyans need to understand, like it has been said before, choices do have consequences. Kenyans are now going, I believe, to sit down and begin to look at ourselves. When we are choosing a presidency, when we are picking a candidate, actually what does the manifesto say? And what this team says is really what people should vote for. And right now in Kenya, we are not voting for anything. In other words, whatever that President William Ruto is doing, in my thinking, deserves the Kenyan public. Because Ruto came in, there are things which he used to say. We in the opposition used to find them outrageous.
Okay.
We knew it would never work out. But look at where we are now. Every single thing that he talked about that he would do has got a replica, reversal of exactly what he was going to see. He said there will be no taxes. Look at what he's asking for.
Okay.
He said the fuel for prices. You remember when he was talking about fuel for prices? I mean, prices for fuel?
Yes.
Look at what happened. What has happened since he took over. Come to when he was talking about mabwenyenye wanajichagua, wanataka kwenda kutengeneza makazi kama rafiki zao na nini. Look at what is happening. We are having a bloated cabinet when everybody is saying we need to have carefulness, we need to change our style, we need to reduce our largesse, we need to stop this thing of wastage in our country.
Okay. Now that's Onyonka. But why is William Ruto determined to ensure that the bill actually goes through? I want us to look at why William Ruto is keen on ensuring that the bill goes through and his strategies for winning over the members of parliament. Before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. And without any further ado, let us dive in. Why do you think William Ruto is determined to ensure that this bill goes through? Number one, Ruto needs the money to run his government. He needs that money badly. William Ruto made promises which were unrealistic to the country. 1 year is almost. That's the fact. And he has only 2 more years, because the next year would be the 3rd year. That will be campaign cycle already. So he needs money right now to try and achieve a few things within the next 1 or 2 years. If it's a housing, Kenyans will be able to see those housing. If it's roads, Kenyans will be able to see those roads. He needs the money. And that's why he must ensure that this bill goes through. William Ruto is going to tax everything in the country. And he's going to tax everybody in this country. In fact, the moment this bill will go through, if you are earning 40,000 as a salary, just wait for the end month and then look at that slip. What will be your net salary? Then use that net salary to go to the supermarket to purchase what you normally purchase, because everything is also going to increase. Then you'll be able to understand. But William Ruto wants to achieve some of these things. He needs the money to run his activities, the promises he made. He also needs the money for his campaign, because campaign is very expensive. William Ruto needs the money. This is the only time he can make money, which he will then use to buy Kenyans again. And then he also needs this bill to go through, because number 2, if this bill is defeated, it will be a big blow for Ruto. This is the first major political contest he's facing in parliament. So he must bulldoze it. Because if he won't be able to bulldoze it, it's going to open a new window and door for future contest in parliament. Kenyans will like, okay, kumbe this guy can be defeated in parliament. So even if this bill is bad, William Ruto is going to force it, because he has already brought members of parliament to his side. Number 3, a defeat. If William Ruto is going to be defeated in this bill, it's also going to be a defeat for Kenya Kwanza. Remember what happened to Kibaki during the referendum. He could not recover from that defeat. William Ruto would not want a situation where his bill, like this major bill, is defeated. Because if the bill is going to be defeated in parliament, I don't think William Ruto will be able to make a comeback again using it. But why is William Ruto keen on ensuring that this bill is passed? Why is he trying to force members of parliament to pass it? Let us look at the strategies which he's trying to use. Number 1, William Ruto is actually intimidating his members of parliament to support this bill. And for those who are not willing to support the bill, they are facing it rough. The other day you saw Panyako being forced to resign from the party. You know, he's a member of UDA. And William Ruto told him, placed a phone call to him, because he gave a different opinion, that, look here, because you are opposing this bill, I want you to resign from the party immediately. He resigned. The Madira member of parliament also opposed this bill. And he was explaining the other day how he received a phone call from Ruto. So Ruto is basically monitoring each and every activities of these members of parliament.
Yani ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba nilipokea simu kutoka kwa rais mwendo saa 1:20 Ijumaa. Akaniambia kwamba wewe unapinga mambo ya housing levy na mambo mengine ambayo yanafanya gharama ya maisha kwa Wakenya kwenda juu. Nikamwambia kwamba uelewe kwamba mimi ni kiongozi wa wafanyakazi na kitu yangu muhimu kabisa ni kusimama na wafanyakazi na wananchi wa kawaida. Nikamuuliza, akaniambia kwamba anasukumwa na wengine wakina Malala na wengine kwamba ni kwa nini unakubali Mr. Panyako kuendelea kuwa kiongozi katika chama cha UDA na anapinga miradi ya serikali. Nikamwambia unataka namna gani? Akasema haiwezekani kuendelea namna hiyo. Inabidi uondoke kwa uongozi wa chama cha UDA. Mimi nikakubali na nikamwambia nitaondoka katika chama cha UDA maana hiyo ni demokrasia yangu.
And that's why someone like Wamuchomba is also finding it very difficult. Look at the kind of words Kimani Ichung'wah is using to describe Wamuchomba.
Does not even know the finance bill is how many pages. Doesn't even know what color it is. But she's been out there all over speaking again as a finance bill. And she knows zero about what is contained in the finance bill, other than what she has collected from what we call in my village, Mohahe, on social media.
Number two, we all agree that this bill is very bad. And anything bad must always have its good side. So William Ruto's strategy currently is to focus on the good side. And that's what he's doing. You saw him yesterday in a meeting with the governors. He was just trying to paint the bill as a very good bill.
Are we going to stop a whole project that can hire 1 million young people every year? A project that will support our industrialization agenda. Those who produce cement, those who produce steel, those who produce doors, those who produce hinges and windows, the architects, the quantity surveyors, the electricians, the masons, the carpenters who are supposed to work in that space. Are we going to stop the whole of that exercise because we are not sure about governance?
What William Ruto is failing to understand is that Kenyans of today are woke and they're able to explain in their own terms the good side of this bill. If you ask me, if BBI was a bad document, then this finance bill is a worse document. Because there's nothing in BBI which you don't find in this bill. So let us listen to this young, beautiful lady destroying this particular bill.
I've covered the Finance Bill 2023 and what it entails for the common citizen, but it seems like the top office is very stuck on it and they're kind of forcing it down our already thinning throats. Let's talk about the Affordable Housing Fund. So the first thing they said, it's a saving fund. It's not a tax. But why is it compulsory? If it's compulsory, it's a tax. You can just own up to that, KK. Secondly, they've compared the Affordable Housing Fund with that was done in Singapore. And Singapore was very successful in doing their housing projects, and we just want to copy-paste that without oversight. If a country were to copy-paste Kenya's levels of corruption, they literally end up having to shut down. Ask Zimbabwe. Singapore has very strict policies when it comes to how public money is spent, but I can't remember the last time an actual renowned GOK thief wasn't rewarded with some unconstitutional office. And to all the officers of the first diplomatic faithfuls, shout out to you for not speaking up for like regular people at all. There are countries that have succeeded with this affordable housing fund. Kenya would be better for it, 100%, I'm not disagreeing. For instance, Vienna, Austria is building and expanding social housing, but they have a very active land policy. Land is very expensive in Nairobi and even in other parts of the country too. In Coast, we have stories of squatters, and there are also like a lot of issues with land inheritance. If land is expensive, it has to be addressed. That's why housing is so expensive. Kenya Kwanza can chama all this money to de-risk private developers who have wolfganged this administration, but it will not build anyone houses, not without a plan that goes beyond collecting money and asking employers to top up. Also, I don't know which employers are very excited to build their employees' houses. If this bill comes into effect, I'm pretty sure there are employers looking around the office to know who they're going to fire already. And the people who lose their jobs, Don't worry, the people who are creating jobs are also moving to other countries. If you can just get your passport ready, that would be great. Then there's the issue where the president was like, the pay-slipped people are trying not to help people with no pay-slips, which I don't think is true. There are already many families that are being partly sustained by trickle-down economics of a perceived rich relative. Black tax is no joke. I'm sorry, but I don't think GOK is in the least interested in building sustainable housing, communities, or neighborhoods. Kenyans have asked time and time again for efficient public transport, and we're met with like crickets and circle lines. And we've been told matatus are a very big win for us, and we should be glad that they even work. If we look around, healthcare and education have been on fire, and old people are still lining up on pensions, which they have to bribe someone to get a check that can't even pay for medicine for their aching knees. Nairobi has been the focus of the housing despise, and this county doesn't even have working drainages. We're just sleeping over something, hoping it's a stone and not a sponge, and we're also becoming involuntary athletes. Also, we don't need any more divide, pay slips versus non-pay slips, hustlers versus dynasties, Kenyan meme makers versus persuader-in-chief. The only problem we have here is the ruling class versus the rest of us. That's all it is.
His third strategy is to use Kenya Kwanza numerical strength. And if you listened to Miguna the other day, Miguna talked of William Ruto being surrounded by yes men. Panyako also talked about 6 people who are calling shots around William Ruto. And that these people, they decide, they agree, and they determine everything around the president. So the truth is, William Ruto understands that in Kenya Kwanza, he has the say. And Kenya Kwanza has the numerical strength. They have the numbers to push through this bill, whether you like it or not. And because they have the numerical strength, he's going to use it. And Azimio will not have anything to say. And that's why Onyonka is warning you here again.
I want to tell you this. There's nothing that is going to happen. This bill will pass. Why? This team, KK Alliance, they have got the majority. And the truth and the reality is that I'm sure the president is monitoring what everybody's doing. Why? Because he wouldn't want, for the first time, his wish to be thwarted.
And his fourth strategy is to decampaign. You know, you are going to be marked. For example, if you come from Rift Valley, you come from Central Kenya, automatically you become a slave to UDA. So you'll be marked. Then he's going to wait for you. So there's that fear that if I don't support this document, then I'll be exposed. But again, you can't go to the ground and explain to them. And that's exactly what is happening to most of these people. Today in Tongaren, UDA members of parliament could not even be allowed to talk about, mention the word Ruto today in Tongaren. They voted for Ruto. The member of parliament is Jubilee. People don't want to listen to any word called Ruto. And that's the sad thing. So he's sending these members of parliament to go to the ground to sell this document, but the people are not willing to listen to them. But William Ruto understands one thing about Kenyans, that they might oppose this thing now, then it's forced on them. In 1 week after the bill is passed, then Kenyans will return back to their default setting. They'll continue as if nothing happened. And lastly, William Ruto is also trying to make it appear as if it's an Azimio versus Kenya Kwanza. And for me, that is politicizing this issue. As no, I don't know, for him it's okay, but for the general public, I don't think it's good. This document, if it's good, it should be able to benefit all Kenyans. If it's bad, it should be able to affect all Kenyans, regardless whether you are in Azimio, whether you are in Kenya Kwanza, or the rest. So let us wait and see. But for me, I think this bill is going to pass, and there's nothing you are going to do about it. Thank you, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.